What's up, Ragin Nation? How's it going? This is Alex Yu, and it has been just a little bit over a week since that report. I'm not going to call it a rumor. I'm not going to call it an official announcement or confirmation. I'm just going to call it a report. It's a report apparently from a reliable source that Michael Bay is returning, or rather wants to direct another Transformers film. I'm not going to say that he is officially returning. He just wants to direct another film. That's what the headline says. It just says that he wants to direct the film. Now, a lot of times you see reports that suggest that this actor wants to be in another Marvel movie. This actor wants to be in a James Bond film, or this actor wants to work with Christopher Nolan. Wanting to do something doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. Now, with that being said, this isn't just any actor, okay? This is Michael Bay. And Michael Bay has a great relationship with Paramount Pictures, and he has made the studio lots and lots and lots of money. Sure, Transformers Last Night was a bomb. It didn't make enough money to generate a profit, so that's why we are at where we're at now. But he still has a really great track record in generating big box office dollars, and a lot of people go watch his films. Except for the last one. Anyways, my point is that the purpose of what I'm here to talk about is what kind of movie is Michael Bay going to direct? What kind of Transformers movie is Michael Bay going to direct? Okay, now Josh Cooley also has plans to direct a live-action film. This came out of nowhere. I didn't see this one coming. I thought that with Transformers 2, or rather the sequel to Transformers 1 not happening, I thought that was one and done. That's it. But apparently Josh Cooley is working on a live-action Transformers film. Now, before I talk about the Michael Bay thing, I just want to get this out of the way. Whatever Josh Cooley ends up making for a Transformers live-action film, it is going to be completely different. It's going to look and feel completely different from what Michael Bay has ever directed or is about to direct. It's going to look and feel totally different from all of the other Transformers films that we've seen in the past. I just have a really strong feeling about that, just because we've seen what he could do with an animated Transformers story. But it's not even so much that it's animated, it's just the fact that it is a more story-driven and character-driven Transformers film. So we have two very different directors here. Josh Cooley is more of a story-driven director, but Michael Bay is a more visually driven director. So, Josh Cooley is a director that's, he focuses more on the story and the characters first, and then the action comes later. On the other hand, Michael Bay, he thinks of the action, and then he says, let's wrap a story around this. How can we get these actors to get into this crazy scene, like the building sliding scene in Chicago in Transformers Dark of the Moon? You know what I'm saying? So that's how their minds are so different. That's why I say that whatever Josh Cooley decides to make, it's going to look and feel very, very different from all the Transformers films that we've ever seen. Okay, so I'm really looking forward to that, especially since Transformers 1 was so awesome. Now, with regards to Michael Bay, what kind of Transformers film is he going to work on? Now, I've listed all the suggestions in the previous film. Rise of Unicorn, the Last Night sequel, the follow-up to the Last Night. Is he doing that? Okay. Is he directing the sequel to Rise of the Beasts, following up where Stephen Kibble Jr. left off? Or is he directing Transformers versus G.I. Joe, or the Transformers G.I. Joe crossover? Okay? Well, this is what I believe. I think that Transformers Last Night, it's a fact. It's a failure. Okay? Done. We're not going back there. We're not going that route. Okay? We are just done with that timeline. We're done with that version of Transformers. That has come to an abrupt end. Now we go into Travis Knight's Nightverse, following up with Stephen Cable's Rise of the Beast, and then it ended with the card which says GI Joe at the very end of the movie. Okay, so of course the thing that makes sense is the GI Joe Transformers crossover, which is essentially it's kind of, it's a spin-off, but then it still continues where that story left off. So it's not necessarily a direct Rise of the Beast sequel, but it continues where that left off. You know what I mean? And to top things off, there wasn't any announcement that Transformers G.I. Joe crossover was being canceled. There was no mention of that at all. There was only the mention that Transformers 1 or any future sequels for Transformers 1 is canceled. Transformers G.I. Joe, there's been no talk about it at all. It didn't say it was canceled, but they didn't say that it's moving forward either. But the last news about it was that it's actually in development. We just haven't heard anything about it. But I know that Paramount knows that this is going to be a very delicate thing to tackle. Okay, it's a very, very delicate property to tackle with two different franchises. I mean, well, yeah, they're two different franchises. They're going to merge to be one, okay? So you got Transformers, which is, in a very, it's kind of walking on thin ice. And then you have G.I. Joe, which already fell through the ice. So you have two franchises that are not doing very well, but you're putting the two together, and Paramount and Hasbro thinks that this is going to do something special. Well, if anybody can course correct this franchise back to box office successful territory, I think it's Michael Bay. And the reason why I say that, okay, fine, The Last Night was a bomb, but it was simply a terrible movie, okay? It was really a bad movie. But I think people are kind of curious what he can do with not just Transformers, but G.I. Joe. I always thought that Michael Bay would be perfect to direct a G.I. Joe movie. Just a G.I. Joe movie. Not let alone a Transformers movie, but a G.I. Joe movie. I think he's more suited for G.I. Joe than he is for Transformers, as a matter of fact. But he's always been, he made himself into a Transformers fan, at least a Bayverse Transformers live-action movie fan. So, with him being having such a really tight relationship with the U.S. military, the Pentagon, and all that, I think that he's gonna end up having fun again, because he loves working on these Transformers movies because they're a lot of fun. I think if you give him Transformers and G.I. Joe, he's gonna have a lot of fun, and which, when Paramount sees that enthusiasm, they give him full control. So that's what I think is going to happen. I don't think he's going to follow with the Unicron story, which is The Last Night. I think that's done. Like, I know people want to see it, even though they were disappointed with the film. They just want to see where it goes with that. But it's done. The movie bombed, and that was it, okay? On the other hand, Rise of the Beasts, while it was not a financial success, people still like that movie, okay? They want to see where that continues off. And apparently the direction they're going in is G.I. Joe. So, and the last time that there was any official announcement about any official Transformers film was a Transformers G.I. Joe a crossover. So with Michael Bay wanting to direct the next Transformers film, or wanting to direct a Transformers film, I'm positive, or I'm pretty sure that it's going to be this one. It just feels like this is totally right up his alley. This is Bayverse territory. And that's why I believe that Michael Bay is going to direct Transformers and G.I. Joe. So, as for the Rise of the Beast, like the follow-up to Rise of the Beast where it's just Transformers, I don't even think that's even happening. At least, if it's in the cards, it's going to be much, much, much later. But the fact is that Paramount has a property called G.I. Joe, and they haven't been able to get it right. Every time they haven't been able to get it right. The first time was a mild success at best, okay? But it was enough for them to want to make a sequel, G.I. Joe Retaliation. Didn't do well, and decided to step back, make it into a smaller movie with Snake Eyes. That was really, really bad. So they know they're going in the wrong direction. Maybe they should bring it back to maybe they should take the property and just mix it with a property that still kind of works. And that is Transformers. After all, Transformers and G.I. Joe did cross over into comics, so it's not like they're just pulling out of ideas out of their behind, you know what I mean? So this is an idea that maybe some Transformer G.I. Joe comic book fans might even they'll entertain that. So we'll see how it goes. But if you do want to see a full-on Transformers movie, like where it's just Transformers, Morty meets the eyes, no no G.I. Joe, that's Josh Cooley's territory now. That's what I'm thinking. I think they're going to let Josh Cooley handle that just because he knows what he's doing, okay? It's not his fault that nobody went to see Transformers 1, but at least he knows what he's doing, okay? So that's all I got to say about that. Michael Bay's directing Transformers and G.I. Joe crossover. Josh Cooley is going to be the next director to direct a Transformers live-action film, which is only purely Transformers, okay? What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comment section below. My name's Alex. I'll see you next time. Peace.